My neighbor hasn't aged in 30 years, and I finally found out why. Part 1. I know this is going to sound crazy, but I think my neighbor is something else. Not just weird different. Not eccentric cat lady different. I mean, I think she might not be human. Her name is Mrs. Alara. She lives 3 houses down, in a pale blue Victorian-style home, with ivy crawling up the walls, like veins. Every shutter is always closed. No lights during the day. The house looks like it was ripped straight out of a haunted painting. I moved into this neighborhood about 6 months ago, into my late uncle's house after he passed. Everyone here is quiet, friendly enough, but weirdly reserved whenever I ask about her. That was the first red flag. I first noticed something truly off during a block party in June. I was chatting with my neighbor Mark, and I casually asked how long Mrs. Alara had lived here. He laughed, but it was the kind of laugh that feels like a reflex. Nervous, twitchy. Longer than you've been alive, he said. I chuckled, assuming he meant she was elderly. So, what, she's in her 70s? Mark looked me dead in the eye and said, no. She looked exactly like that when I was in high school. That was in 1995. I thought he was pulling my leg. Until a few weeks later, I found an old yearbook at a garage sale. It was from 1994. I flipped through it out of boredom. And then I saw her. Same exact face, same black hair styled in that vintage wave, same pale skin, same eerie, too-perfect smile. It had to be a coincidence, right? Maybe a daughter. Or a relative. But then I started paying closer attention. Not in a creepy way. Just curious. I noticed she never came out during the day. Not even to get the mail. But every night, at around 3:30 a.m., I'd see her leave her house wearing a long black coat, walking slowly down the street and disappearing into the woods behind the neighborhood. I decided to follow her. I dressed in dark clothes, grabbed a flashlight, and waited in my car a few nights in a row. On the 3rd night, just when I was about to give up, she emerged. No flashlight, no phone, just moving through the darkness like she could see perfectly. I followed her, quietly, keeping about 100 feet behind, careful not to crunch any leaves. She led me deeper into the woods than I even knew existed. Eventually, she stopped in a small clearing. In the middle was a ring of large stones, arranged like some kind of ancient ritual site. They were old, cracked, and carved with strange symbols I didn't recognize. They didn't look like letters, more like warnings. Mrs. Alara raised both arms and whispered something. I couldn't make out the words, but the air around me suddenly got heavier, like it was vibrating. My chest tightened. I felt like the trees themselves were holding their breath. And then she froze, like she heard something, or sensed someone watching. Her head turned toward me, slowly, way too slowly. Her eyes locked onto mine through the darkness. I swear I hadn't made a single sound. I was crouched low behind a tree, completely still. But she knew. Somehow she knew I was there. She stared at me for just a second too long. Then she smiled. Not a friendly smile. Not even a threatening one. Just knowing. Like she understood everything. And then she spoke, her voice echoing like it came from the trees themselves. Curiosity is dangerous, child. At that moment, the wind stopped. Everything went silent. My flashlight flickered. I turned to run. But before I could take a single step, everything around me just vanished. Darkness. Nothingness. Like the woods were never even there. Want part 2? It only gets darker from here.